Hey guys, Duck here. Today I got a review of the SOG Terminus XR and G10. This is the green one. This also came in red as well as black. They also have a gold bladed variant with carbon fiber G10 scales. Let's take a quick look at the packaging. This is also a long-term review. I forgot to mention that. This is actually my second one of these. So this is the big box store packaging for like Walmart or any other like survival type store. Walmart's a survival type store, I know. So yeah, on the back you got some specs, some nice line art of the knife itself, showing you some features of it. But let's get this guy out real quick. We'll do some specs as well to disprove the stuff on the back to a degree, because it's not exactly what they say. The length on this guy, not length, the weight coming in at 3.37, so roughly 0.2 ounces more than what they suggest. That's not that much, but not something I would want in my margin of error, at least. So the overall length on this guy is coming in at about 7.25 inches, all the way to the pocket clip, at least the end of it. If you're talking about to the end of the knife itself, it is about 7, a tiny bit more, and that's from tip to the end. The blade length on this guy, if you're talking about the overall blade itself to the top of the handles, is roughly 3 inches, unless you go all the way to the top where the jimping ends, and then it's going to be even longer than 3, but not by much. The blade itself is significantly under 3 inches cutting, because it's obviously not the full length of the knife, or the blade, obviously. So that's coming in significantly under, so about 2 3/4. So a little bit smaller. This guy is pretty nice for what it is. It has a D2 cryo-treated steel. It's okay. I will get into that. Some G10 steel. The liners are stainless steel. They all are skeletonized, if you can see that. Runs on ball, steel ball bearings. So pretty nice. That helps the action a lot. You got your deep area pocket clip. It's pretty unique. It says SOG on there. We'll get into that later as well. The G10's pretty grippy. It's not overly grippy. And yeah, so pretty nice. You got some jimping on the top. You got 3 ways to open it. You got your thumb studs. You got your flipper tab right here. And then you also have your XR lock, or rather the Benchmade style axis lock, but this is SOG's specific one. You have a G10 back spacer here. And yeah, so you got a nice sharpening choil here. The grind on this guy is decently looking. You got kind of a chin down here. Not the best thing ever, but I've seen worse. So this is okay for what it is. Let's get into the really positive stuff though. So this guy is only 50 bucks. That's great. It has the XR lock, so you get a Benchmade style axis lock for 50 bucks, which is awesome. It's really fidgety. It has a good action when you try to do it. You do have to learn how to do it correctly. If you're just haphazardly opening it, you won't want to open, but that's going to be more in the negatives. But really nice action, really fidgeting. 3 ways to open it. You got your thumb studs, and then the axis lock, like I said. The overall Ergo, the style of it is a good idea, but we'll get into that. So when you first grab it, it feels really nice. The jimping is really good for your thumb. You can choke up on it to a degree if you want, because there's kind of a finger groove here to a degree, so you can choke up on it. And then the jimping does go down a decent amount. I would like it to go a little bit further, but I honestly don't think it could. The drop point blade is pretty nice. Yeah, so for 50 bucks, you're getting a decent amount of knife here. And then your deep carry pocket clip. So that thing's okay. And yeah, let's get into the negatives for this guy really quick. So the negatives for this guy is, well, we'll go into the big thing real quick. The cryo or the treatment on the blade is not very good. This guy just ends up chipping. I have not used this knife that much. It has chipped significantly for the amount of usage I have put it through. This is nothing. The original one that I had was way worse. Also, the pocket flipper, or excuse me, the flipper is just a pocket pecker. This has destroyed my screen protector on my phone numerous times, more than I can probably count on two hands. So that's kind of disappointing there. The pocket clip itself is pretty uncomfortable to, I guess, disengage. And then your pants get caught in here because it just comes around. Other than that, it's pretty unique looking. Gotta mention this. This is very, very left-handed friendly. You can swap this to the other side if you'd like. That's just something I completely forgot to mention about in the positives, but you can do that. The liners. Oh, really quick, back to the pocket clip. This will lose its shape very, very quickly. Not the SOG, but the whole thing. When you go to disengage it, this is very, very thin, and it just will lose its rigidity very, very quick. And it's just not fun to disengage because this is very pointy for what it is. So, okay, back to my next point. The liners on here are too pronounced. They need to be under the G10, or the G10 needs to be a little bit up farther, or they just need to round them. These are not very comfortable if you're pushing through something pretty hard. Like if you're trying to like shred a stick to pieces pretty much, cut through a really heavy box or something along those lines, it is not that comfortable because you're just going to be gripping the liners. The bottoms are even more pronounced than the tops, so not the most comfortable thing to use. But if you're just looking for a standard EDC that's just kind of cool and interesting looking, this is a pretty good option. Let's see, is there anything else that I would like to go over really quick before I forget about it? Yes, the final reason that this is my second one is the XR lock on here snapped. So they have the U-springs in them, just like the axis lock, that push the bar back to disengage, to re-engage, and those snapped on me. And they snapped in a couple months, not even. And then one more thing after mentioning this, because that is a big part of the next point. The action on this guy, if you don't do it correctly, it won't want to deploy. See? And that's just constant. Like, you have to do some force and pull your finger pretty far back in order to do it correctly. So that's kind of disappointing. Speaking of that, though, it's the same for the thumb studs. You have to give a lot of force to get this guy out. So the way the blade works is there's a spiral in it, and then it's going around the axis lock bar. It's really weird, but pretty interesting at the same time. So centering on this guy is fine. Just wanted to bring that up real quick before we do some size comparisons. So we got our SOG out here. We'll do some other budget brand comparisons. We have the Elementum. We got Kaiser Swayback here. And then Spyderco's Tenacious. So pretty interesting stuff here. You got a lot of knife for a decent amount. But if you're looking for that specific axis lock style knife, this is a pretty good option. I do enjoy it for what it is. It's not my favorite knife. If you're looking for something to just have that's kind of interesting, kind of unique for what it is, for a cheap knife, really good option. Speaking of Benchmades and axis locks, here's the 940. This is probably the most direct comparison I can make. Really quick in the negatives as well, speaking of these, because I need both these knives to bring this up. You cannot deploy this knife with one finger. You can't. It does not want to do it. You can deploy a Benchmade with one finger, but you cannot do the saw. You have to pull both of these back, which is kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. Just the quality of the axis lock is just so much more free swinging, but it is what it is, and that's just kind of disappointing there. But really nice for what it is for 50 bucks. I'm gonna give it a silver tier. I do recommend going with pretty much anything to a degree, but this is a decent one for a budget. I do prefer the Elementum to a degree, but if you're looking for something pretty unique, that's a good option. Anyways, overall, silver tier, like I said. We got a surprise for a review that I will bring out real quick. This is probably going to be my next one. It's going to be a double review, but yeah, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.